Hello, learners. You all are welcome once again after a couple of weeks gap. In this video lesson, we will understand the chapter on the face of it, dealing with issues of disabled people, and written by Susan Hill, one of the most versatile writers of English literature. First of all, introduction. The play is about the friendship between an old man and a young boy who is withdrawn and defiant. Both of them are physically impaired, and the outlook of each of them towards life in general and towards people in particular are very different. The old man had a positive outlook towards life, whereas the young boy with the scarred face had become withdrawn and pessimistic. The theme of the chapter. This play brings out the idea that the people who have any handicap, physical impairment of some kind, generally suffer from a sense of loneliness and mental pain. It also talks about how appearances are deceptive, and most often we go on dealing with impressions and prejudices about others without caring to know about them actually. So this is a very important chapter for you all learners, and we must take very precise interest to understand it uh, in a holistic manner. Really, it deals with the psychological issues in a true sense of the term. The main characters here are Derry and Mr. Lamb. Derry is withdrawn and defiant, bitter towards the world, lonely and pessimistic, cares too much about his disability, and hates it when people stare and pity him. Whereas Mr. Lamb, on the other hand, is optimistic, lonely but happy. We have to mind it, lonely but happy, does not care too much about his disability. Whatever has happened, and has learned to accept it gladly. Now, let us come to the explanation of this chapter. The play has two disabled persons, Derry and Mr. Lamb. Derry is quite withdrawn and defiant. He meets Mr. Lamb by chance in Letter's garden. The old man devises ways and means to overcome his feelings of isolation and disappointment. He even helps the boy to come out of his seclusion and infuses in him the courage and determination to live on successfully in his world without bothering about what others say or feel about him. Derry breaks out of his shell but walks in on the fact that is a dead Mr. Lamb. And that is how the chapter comes to an end. Once we read this chapter line by line, we find this chapter dealing with the most, you can say, complicated psychological issues which are being faced by our disabled persons or differently able person, rather, we must say now. And really, it is a great lesson giving a great message to all of the readers, which is quite helpful in dealing with such problems when once we find that people are suffering from any sort of physical impairment sort of thing. We can counsel them, we can recommend them to read this chapter, and really, in the real sense of term, this chapter is I used to say is a medicine to be prescribed to such people, which is really giving a healing effect, healing touch to such differently able people. Now, so far assignment part is concerned, let us see one questions. That is the most important question from this chapter, you can say, is do you think all these changes there is attitude towards Mr. Lamb? All these means Mr. Lamb's counselings. Question is, do you think all these change Derry's attitude towards Mr. Lamb? Now we can seek answer from yourself, but I think the ideal answer of this question could be yes. Now you can go answering further. The next important question is, will Derry get back to his old seclusion, or will Mr. Lamb's brief association affect a change in the kind of life Derry will lead in future? This is another important question which you must attempt to answer it. I hope this video lesson was to some extent of great help to all my learners. If it is so, like this video, subscribe it too, and recommend it to your friends. And don't forget to press the bell icon. Thank you, learners. Thank you very much. See you in my next video, next chapter, very soon.